Alright, so this is going to go up on YouTube. I'm doing a time spiral block draft. This is, I think, my fourth of the day. This is a pretty interesting deck. We're actually starting in the middle of round one. I've already drafted. Game one is, we already won game one. We drafted a Bantsa Prolings deck. This deck has got some pretty interesting interactions. For those of you not familiar with the cards, I apologize. I have limited time for sideboarding. I will get into them as the match goes on. I have a very powerful set of synergies with Pallid Mycoderm and Sprout Swarm, generating a very heavy amount of Saprolings and then being able to sacrifice them to pump all the other Saprolings, in addition to having Verdant Embrace, which creates tons of Saprolings as well. So we're kind of all in on the Saproling strategy. To feed that, we have some Convoke cards like Primarch. We have some Flash cards as well. We ended up taking and playing the Primal Force Mage. Goes really well with those instant speed Saprolings. Also goes very well with Transmuter. Let's see, we got Shaper for removal. We got Sunlance for removal. Shaper flips up. When he flips face side up, he kills other morphs. He kills a lot of other creatures. He's just very powerful. And we got really great utility land searches right here. 2 evolution charms and a Edge of Autumn. This is a pretty great deck. Let's go ahead and play game 2. Alright. Alright, so for game 2, this is a questionable hand. If we hit the blue, it's fantastic. If we don't hit the blue, we kind of just dirtle for a little bit. We're going to keep it, which may be a mistake. So how many blue sources are we running? We're running 7, 8 blue sources. So we got, let's see, a quarter of a chance of hitting it. Just shy of a quarter of a chance of hitting it each turn. That's not so bad. And we didn't hit it on turn 1, but that's okay. If we hit any other creature as well, or Edge of Autumn, okay, so Sprout, just instant speed Saproling, that's generally not too high power a card. It does have synergies with his deck, has a number of other Saproling generators, so as an instant speed trick to sack those other Saproling effects, could be good. Right now we're, ooh, that's spicy. So the Gargadon, he does get pretty much infinitely chumped by Saproling Swarm, and he's still a far way off, but he's a big one and he's pretty good. So we didn't do it here. I'm not willing to sacrifice Sprout Swarm in this matchup just to convoke out Kavu Primarch a turn faster. The convoke mechanic allows me to tap the Saproling that I can create at instant speed in order to reduce the mana cost by 1. Which would allow me to drop it on turn 3, which would be pretty great for my curve, especially if I did hit the blue for 4C on turn 4, but it's not worth sacrificing Sprout Swarm. So my opponent did not show me anything in black in game 1. Urborg is a surprise. Actually, he did. He showed me Grave Peril, which is an unusual enchantment that kills the next creature that comes into play. For his sake, I hope he cited it out. It is atrocious against Sprout Swarm. You end up just trading your enchantment removal for a single Saproling. Alright, so we're not hitting the blue. He is kind of dirtling a bit with these 1/1 creatures, so I'm not too afraid of getting low on life total and dying real soon. It could be an issue if he drops that Greater Gargadon by sacking all his permanents in the near future, but I don't see that happening. Next turn we're going to drop that Primarch unkicked, unfortunately, but we do what we can. Alright, we're going to take 2 right here. And hope for that blue mana, even though at this point I don't think it changes anything if we draw blue. For the next turn. Of course it's going to change our plays after that, but right now we want to get Primarch down. He'll stop this bleeding we've got going on at the moment. I'm a Battle Mage. Okay, unkicked. Not so scary when it's unkicked. That card has a very high top end, so if it's kicked, you can have it deal power, or oh goodness. Okay. You can have it deal your opponent damage equal to the power of one of their creatures, and you tap that creature if it's for just a black and a colorless. We're actually running one ourselves. We do have Dreadship Reef to get that black effect, but we're running it mostly for the blue, which says 2 and a blue, triple discard for your opponent if you can run it out there. Not a bad rate for 6 mana. It's essentially a Mind Stab that gives you a creature. Not too shabby. Okay, so he's not probably going to attack into that. Gargadon's going to come down soon. I want to be prepared with Sprout Swarm for when that Gargadon does start coming in. Oh goodness. We are going to lay down Primal Force Mage. And then we're going to hope that he doesn't decide to Gargadon prematurely and sack a bunch of permanents for this. So we are lucky that we're not being horribly punished for keeping this green heavy draw so far. We'll have to see how it works out. Okay, what do we got going on here? He's discarding. Gonna create a sliver. Alright. Sliver away, my friend. He's got 1 card in hand. I wonder if he's contemplating sacrificing his permanents for that Gargadon. If he gives me too much time to set up, he runs the risk of me being able to Sprout Swarm my way out of this. Okay, what's going on here? Declare attackers. I'm going to block. Let's go ahead and block here, and we'll block here. This will force him to probably sack his guys to Gargadon. Am I missing something here? Nope. Yeah, it's pretty much what he's doing. Alright, Gargadon is now much closer to coming into play. And he did me 2. Alright. Well, that opens up Sunlance, and it opens up Pallid Mycoderm. So if I drop Pallid Mycoderm, I'll only have 4, so I can't Sprout Swarm with buyback. I do want Pallid Mycoderm on the battlefield, however, because he tanks pretty well, and he's got that ability that works in conjunction with my Saprolings. What would be better here? We can buy back Sprout Swarm and Sunlance, but I think we run out the Mycoderm regardless. And if he does bash me in with Greater Gargadon, he decides it's worth it, he's going to sack 3 things or whatever, and honestly it probably is worth it, then I'll have to let it eat one of my creatures. Okay, he's sacking end of turn his lands. That's an interesting move. Okay, so he's reducing. Alright, he's down to 1. He doesn't need to sack anything else. Okay, good. He's doing that during his turn. Okay. What's going on here? Got a hasty Gargadon. Gargadon. I am contemplating taking 9 here and going to 5. I'm confident the last card in his hand won't deal me 5 damage. And coupled with Kavu Primarch, I could spit out a Saproling and double block next turn. And that would leave me somewhat unexposed. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully I don't get punished by some trick I'm forgetting about. There is essentially a Berserk in this format. He didn't have that, fortunately for me. Paradise Plume. Okay. So he gains a life whenever he plays a spell of the color of his choosing. Chosen color is green. He can also produce green mana with that. Alright, it's not too dangerous. We don't mind that. He is played out. So let's see. Now we can, at our convenience, Sunlance something. And we probably will. I'm going to go ahead and Sunlance. We're going to Sunlance his Silversmith. and then I'm going to attack with Pallid Mycoderm. We have 5 in conjunction with Convoke, with Primal Force Mage to buy back a Sprout Swarm, and then we can double block with Kavu Primarch and the Saproling, which will be pretty ballin' unless he ripped some kind of a removal spell, which would be pretty unfortunate. Alright, so during his Declare Attacker's step, when he gives me priority, I'm going to buy back, play the Sprout Swarm. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, he gains a life. I did forget about the trigger working for me as well with Paradise Plume. When I get Sprawling, it will immediately become a 4/4, assuming no tricks right now. No trixies. And I will double block. Declare Attacker's step. Declare Attacker's step still. Declare Blockers. If he does have a trick to save it here, that would be very bad news. Oh my. Oh my. He does indeed have a trick to save it. Okay. Well, I guess... You know what? I'm not going to remind him I have that effect. He's 0 cards in hand. We're going to go ahead and let my guy get eaten. Very unfortunate for us there. Let's see what we draw. So what we can do, we can play Shaper Parasite face down. We can't attack, because we need all 5 at this point to create our chump blocking token. But that's exactly what we will do. Quite a top deck for him there. Gargadon is a bit of a pain. If he doesn't have more tricks, let's see if he declares both his attackers. Nope. Okay, that's good for us. This is a very risky move. So I'm going to tap out. And if he has any kind of a trick to kill this token this time, I die. Doesn't look like he had a trick. That's good for us. Let's see if he has any follow-up play here. He does not. That's great for us. Alright, now we have an extra token off the Mycoderm. That's great news. So we're up to 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is enough for me to Sprout Swarm twice, because I get the token from the other Sprout Swarm. I also have Pallid Mycoderm's token. So I can actually attack with 1 creature, should I choose. I will not choose to do so for the risk of a haste creature, and also on a Battle Mage attacking in, because he may have figured out that interaction by now. Oh my. That's something. Ashen Coat Bear. I'm glad I did not attack in. Alright, my opponent's back down to 0 cards in hand. That's great news for us. We do have to play a little faster, so I apologize if I'm a little quieter. I'm going to yield to that ability, just to speed things up for myself. Don't want to get low on time and lose in timeout. Okay. We could really use this flyer. That would be swell. Right now my opponent is fully aware of my predicament with the time. Alright, we're going to have to create another saproling off the mycoderm. At this point our token army is getting a little crazy. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, so now we can 2, 3, 4, 5. We can drop our infiltrator. Maybe I should have suspended that. New combat step. 3, 4. We're going to attack with, let's see, how many do we have to leave back? 3, 4, 5 creates 1, and then a second 5 creates 1. Okay, we gotta leave back 2. Get in there, guys. He doesn't have a lot of good blocks here. I basically can just eat one with Gargadon, and the one he eats with Gargadon feeds the other ones. He conceded. It's very gracious of him. I am losing on time. If I didn't pull it out, we probably would have timed out in game 3. Okay, so looks like my Bantza Proling strategy is working out for now. Come on back for the next round. Let's see. No, it'll be a little bit of a wait. So I'll create a separate video for that. And thanks for joining me.